There are different kind of businesses, essential services, non-essential, technological businesses, as well as traditional businesses. As a result of COVID, some businesses still have decent revenues, but some have negligible revenue. Some might see the impact for a quarter, some might see the impact for a year. Let us begin by understanding what are the HR challenges we are seeing in this current environment.
Thank you, Priyanka. First of
Yeah,
all, I must say that I just like to pick on the word which you used during the introduction, is that we
yeah,
are actually seeing an unprecedented situation. And really it doesn't make a major difference whether it is an essential service or a non-essential service. But the fact remains that when we get back after lockdown, or rather even during the lockdown, the scenario is that of how do we restart? So I think the first question which stares at us, whether it is human resource or any other resource, is how do we start our businesses? And if you have to start our businesses, I think there has been enough data available on the public domain, is that we have to really look at various factors of our businesses. And I would really, in very simplistic terms, put it down in four M's. One, obviously, is money, which I think most of you guys are interested. But apart from that, I think what we are otherwise interested in is men, method, and machine. There are four M's in any business, and so therefore it is men, machine, method, and money. Now, as far as machine is concerned, if you're a service industry, just substitute it by service. So if you have to break away the money part of it, which normally I think FinPro helps your clients, but otherwise the other three M's are something where we need to focus on. And so we really can't see human resource in isolation. You have to see it in a context of the service which you're providing, and also in terms of the method which you're doing, and of course, obviously the people. I'll focus slightly on the people issues. Now,
sure.
people, as far as people are concerned, I think what has really happened in this last 2 weeks is this dramatically disrupted our business scenario. But life has to move on, and life has to go on. And as the poll indicates, let's look at the half cup full. Let's look at the half cup. Don't forget about the half cup empty, but look at the half cup full. And really, what we need to do is to see how is that you can get back to normal. But there is a new element which has come into the business, is that we are all going to be operating out of home or in remote management or digital. So this is a total mindset. I would know what your businesses are saying and what they are going to be doing. But then finally, I think one of us have to start listing down basic things which we need to do more of and less of, which will affect our business continuity. So I will really like to make this context more from a business continuity of men. In terms of men, I think first thing we do in normal quality terms is to really list out what are the five topmost important things. They say there's normally a principle of 80-20. The topmost 20% will actually occupy the 80%. So whether it is man, machine, method, or money, please list what is your top 20%, which will contribute to 80%, which is the normal principle. And if you see, if we talk of men, first I would focus on my top talent. Whether my top talent is well with you, and whether they are going to be aligned with what you're going to do and how you're going to do. Second thing I would like to look at is what are the top processes which are going to affect your manufacturing or your service or your profitability. To that extent, again, list out the top five of them. Third is what are your key systems which are going to help you to get your business back to action. Again, the top five. And then lastly is, of course, your money. What are the topmost things which you have to do? Obviously, when you get back, you must be thinking in terms of cost reduction. So you have to conserve cash, and you'll have to look at it. Now, if you look at the top five as far as talent is concerned, I think the first thing as far as your top five talent is concerned, first is they will look at safety. One would like to come back to a safe environment. So we have to ensure that there is a safe environment. Second thing which they would like to look back is, first of all, is their work environment going to be the same, or is it going to be changed? So obviously, I think it will be important that even before we restart, try to find out what are their areas of discomfort and alienate them, which is your top talent. I'm talking about the top talent. The third thing is obviously about his own future career. How is it going to pan out? So obviously, we need to try to map each of the top talents' future career and how is it going to pan out, whether he or she is going to get back to work, how is that going to be. So I think these are three important things as far as human resources is concerned, which one has to look at, whether it is an essential or non-essential service. I think the challenges are the same, Priyanka. These are my opening remarks. I'm sure you can get some more thoughts from the other panelists.
Kumaran sir, since I guess you are heading a workforce which is pretty large, I understand, which is like 70,000 people still across all various group companies, and there are temporary employees as well. So I guess it must be a tough task for your organization to have the employee engagement. At the same time, you are again into the service, essential services. So your people are out there working in these times as well. So we would like to understand, how do you actually take care of their concerns regarding safety, when they're out of their homes, and probably, they have the fears that, okay, what if I get affected? How do you work around those concerns?
Priyanka, I think you've raised a very important issue and a very complex issue at this moment, because this was most unexpected that we had to go through this, and suddenly you are exposed to a large number of people being in the essential services, but whereas we are really used to a brick and mortar kind of a management. But given the challenge, I think our entire team, and especially the HR team and the operational team, have responded beautifully well. As you rightly said, we have a large mix of permanent employees as well as the contract employees. But I think what we have really done is basically to go back to the basics. And the basics obviously is that anyone, whether they're out in the field or they're working from home, they need to be having a continuous clarity in terms of where is their position. So we just go back to the Maslow's hierarchy theory, where we ensure that first of all, their safety is assured. Safety not only in terms of job, but the personal safety. So in terms of jobs, one thing which we did was the top leadership, we communicated to all the employees saying that number one, they get their full pay. And we even told them that basically they'll get the full pay for the next 3 months for sure. So that puts to rest the basic security need of a person. The second thing we did was we created protocols for everyone in terms of their own workplaces, because each of our businesses have their own HR people. So we created protocols for people who are going to work from home as well as who are going to work on site. The third thing which we did was we ensured that there is continuous communication. So we opened up our HR portal to everyone, including the families. And of course, we did a whole lot of stuff which Hiren had mentioned. And something very similar is that we did a lot of online communication. We did a lot of engagement related initiatives online, involving people for work from home as well as work on site. As far as work on site is concerned, we ask them to upload information, what they are doing, challenges they are facing, how they are overcoming. We were, kind of appreciating people who are doing some good work and who are coming up with new ideas. So the whole lot of things came. We also opened up a helpline in each of our businesses, one single point contact where anyone and everyone can just call up and ask if there is any point of anxiety. The slightly different thing which we did was we also thought that the entire well-being of a person in this kind of a situation is the mental well-being. So we actually had tied up in the past itself with a well-being outsourced agency to help us out with this. But we really got a counselor to have a 24/7 on-site counseling for anyone and everyone who's coming online. And we have been getting frequent calls about lots of issues in terms of personal safety, job security, their family safety, and also, of course, lots of things. And of course, I think the very important thing which we did here was, every other day we have some notification or the other from the National, the Disaster Management Act. Every state is issuing some notification or the other. And
Yes.
people were at a loss, on the job, whether they can comply, they should not comply, and everything. So we had a legal department which actually put all these things together, and we're continuously texting. Of course, lastly, we have now actually taken advantage in a very big way for those people who are working from home. First of all, we have created a protocol. We have sent out a policy for work from home. And the third thing we have done is a huge lot of online learning content. We actually tied up with LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has been giving us tremendous amount of inputs and content for family members as well as for employees. And we found tremendous response for most of the people, and we were really amazed with the number of people who are trying to learn new things, new skills, and things like that. And of course, we also took advantage. There are certain people in our airport where we have statutory mandatory upgrades which have to be done as far as skill sets are concerned. So those are things which we connected with the authorities, and we have asked every person to go through certain number of hours of compulsory training and upgradation in terms of the certification. So there are a couple of multiple things which we have been doing, and in fact, we have just lost track. We literally work 14, 15 hours these days. I didn't realize that work from home could be so long hours, but we have been working round the clock, and our entire team has been working.
Truly appreciate the efforts, sir. I believe the kind of initiatives which all of you have spoken would be eye opener for a lot of other businesses, because for the large corporates, I think these come in handy because you are much more organized than the smaller organizations. But there is a lot of learning which can be taken from these. Just one question regarding now the safety. In spite of all these, measures which you have taken, unfortunately, if an employee, gets affected, you know, and to corona, then do you have a separate policy for that? How would you deal with that kind of a situation? Yeah.
Yeah, one important thing is that in our work from home, as well as the policy which we have now circulated very clearly, is that we are responsible for any employee or their family member who is getting affected by coronavirus. So we have medical officers in each of our businesses who have to be informed immediately, and they take charge. Point number one. Costs are taken charge. We have also told them very clearly that it's not only them, because it's normally it spreads within the family. So in fact, we had one single case. In fact, in the airport, one employee was affected, then thereafter his wife and the father. So all three we took charge. We actually got them hospitalized, got them treated. In fact, thankfully, all three of them have also been discharged, have been cured in their back office. Similarly, we have, in our 108 services, we have a lot of cases. There is our emergency services. We have about 13 states where we are working ambulances free, and all our people who are paramedical and medicals, they are are exposed to a very large extent. That we monitor on an hour-to-hour basis. We have got a call center which tracks their well-being and their health and safety. Again, doctors take charge. We are ensuring proper treatment, and their absence, of course, obviously is being treated on duty. That has been clarified in our policy. And third thing is that in case untoward, if there is anything else which has happened, also we have also covered up with a lot of insurance. And in fact, we have covered most of the people. As far as coronavirus is concerned, we have also, ensured. Of course, thankfully, our insurance people themselves confirmed to us that our insurance covers this coronavirus also. So therefore, if anything untoward happens, I'm sure we should be able to give them a complete, very substantial amount of compensation.
In fact, a lot of our participants have raised multiple questions on these things. That how the salaries can be treated differently. So people have asked even, can there be pay cuts, or can the salaries be deferred, or can companies make use of leave policies to adjust, the absenteeism during lockdown, since they feel that there is no work happening. So can we just talk about these things, that what are the possibilities, how can the cash flow be balanced in these scenarios when it comes to related to the HR expenses typically? Hiren.
Priyanka, can I come in this?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Sukumar,
yeah. Priyanka, I think over the last 4 to 5 decades, I've gone through quite a few of these crises. But what I find generally people tend to do, managements, is that the first thing they do is, as soon as there is a crisis, first thing they like to do is cut down employee salaries. So I used to go back to most of our people and I used to tell them, look, boss, I don't mind if that is going to be done and if the business warrants. But please put down what are your costs. And at least if you can put it down in a Pareto. And invariably, you'll find that when you put down all your business costs in a Pareto, you'll find that the employee cost need not be in the topmost agenda. You'll find very innocuous stuff, but very, very significant things like power, telecommunication, travel, blah, blah, blah. But you'll see the tendency would be employee cost, cut employee cost, stop canteen, stop training. Now, these are things which are very insignificant in the pecking order. So the first thing is to advocate to the management to see what is your top 3 costs. And again, if you contribute, again, I come back to my top 20-80 formula, is that 20% of the cost of the topmost 3 things would be actually different. And if you go back, let us say if employee cost is the highest, what I would like to do in such a situation is, and I think that's what we have been advocating and we have been doing, is to ensure that the blue collar, the poorest of the poor, their full salary is protected.
Right.
And thereafter, if you're transparent with your top management and your senior people who have the highest number of costs, they are willing to communicate. And once you communicate with them, they themselves volunteer. And I'm sure they all understand that these are hard times. They're willing to take a cut or a postponement or, even contribute towards the overall business world. So each business is in a different scenario. But I think what one has to really do in terms of the salaries, of course, there are statutory obligations. Please remember now that the employee laws don't come into play. It is the Disaster Management Act. So now there we have to honor it. We cannot transgress any of those things. So ensure that that act is complied with. Blue collar is protected because they are the people who are going to actually go back to the society, and they can tomorrow, if you don't pay, imagine a factory being shut up, employees are not, and workers are not being paid. It can actually be a social, they can create a lot of social problems for them. So I think we have got an obligation to that. So ensure that the blue collar is protected. Remaining, I think we need to communicate, negotiate, common consensus of what's the kind of sacrifice one has to make depending upon the business and the capability to pay. And that's my take on this. And I found actually fantastic responses with the senior and top management coming out, understanding and working with them together. I think that there's really no problem, even if it is going to be for another 3 to 6 months.